On high alert this evening. Pacers lead the series 2-1, and Carmelo Anthony spoke with reporters and said tonight's game is pretty obviously a must-win.
This is a gut check game for us. We on the road. We down 2-1. We still believe that we can go in here and win the game. We've proven that we can win on the road, and this is a big game for us. And, tomorrow tell us a lot about our team. And, so we ready for that challenge.
So let's add this. J.R. Smith, Kenyon Martin, and Iman Shumpert all missed Monday's practice. Knicks head coach Mike Woodson said Iman Shumpert would play tonight, while J.R. and Martin are both game-time decisions. So, Stephen A., who wins tonight?
Well, listen, I picked the Knicks to win this game in 7. The series is 7, rather. Obviously, that's more my heart than my head, because I do think that the Indiana Pacers are bigger, more physical, more athletic, and obviously considerably younger. But I don't believe they have a closer, somebody that can close the deal. That person has to be Carmelo Anthony, who has not been that person this series, with the exception of the 30-2 run that the New York Knicks put on them in Game 2. As far as I'm concerned, outside of that run, the New York Knicks have been grossly outplayed in this series. They've been out-muscled, they've been out-hustled, and they've been pushed around and shoved around. And that's really what this comes down to. But I still believe in this Knicks team. I believe that they can get it done. But I will say this. If they don't win tonight, the series is over. They're not coming back from a 3-1 deficit. They're not going back to Indiana in a Game 6, assuming they push it to that point, and beating Indiana. This series is tonight. If the New York Knicks win tonight, I believe they win this series in 7. If they lose tonight, I believe they lose this series in 6 games. It's just that simple. Indiana Pacers, Roy Hibbert. Listen, Tyson Chandler knows this. I wrote a column about it on ESPNNewYork.com. People go check it out right now. I reached out to Tyson Chandler yesterday. He understands what he's got to do. He understands that he played badly in Game 3. They made Roy Hibbert look like the second coming of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's simply unacceptable. J.R. Smith, stomach virus, and the flu. I hope he's feeling better. He'll need to. Very worried about Iman Shumpert. He's a key to me in this series. And now he's complaining about soreness on that left knee, which, by the way, is where he tore his ACL. These are problems. And if the Knicks are injured, I don't see how they can pull it off. But if it's just soreness and he's going to be fine and he can play, it's going to come down to Carmelo Anthony. Tyson Chandler's got to rebound and defend. He needs help with Kenyon Martin. But Carmelo Anthony has to come up like the $85 million man he is. He's got to show up tonight and deliver the goods. It's not going to be easy, but he's got to pull it off.
So, Stephen A., here's what I can't get straight. Is it possible that J.R. and Kenyon and Iman Shumpert will be about 50% tonight with various flu bugs and injuries?
It's possible.
That's no good, man.
That's no good.
I don't like it. It's like last night I admired you. You stuck with your Bulls pick even though you knew your head was telling you different. I'm with you on my heart, just my pride pick here. I picked the Knicks to win this in 7. They pretty much have to win this game tonight. I don't love it. I don't, especially with what you're telling me about those 3. Yeah. And then I know we're all prisoners of playoff moments, so we're all stuck in Game 3 when the Knicks just look lifeless, hapless, clueless, didn't seem to have a plan, didn't seem to be able to get out of their own way. So how do you make a case tonight? Well, you do it this way. You say, Indiana is really good at home, but in a vacuum, I don't think this is a really good basketball team because they can't score when you need to score in the playoffs. Are the Knicks more talented than Indiana? Yes, they are. Are they mentally tougher, physically tougher? I don't know. I'm having my doubts about that. So tonight, as Carmelo just said, we just saw him say, they find out a lot about who they are, what they're made of. And against my better judgment, I'll stick with what I'm thinking here. I'll have to say Knicks 95-90. What do you think?
Well, that's about right. That's about right. I'd roll with that more along the lines of like 93-87. But I got to tell you, when I look at the New York Knicks, I love the quote that Carmelo Anthony gave. I love the fact that he said, we're going to find out who we are. Mm-hmm. I know that he reached out to Tyson Chandler to find out what Tyson Chandler meant by those quotes he gave in the aftermath of Game 3. But ultimately, it comes down to Carmelo Anthony having to deliver. Carmelo Anthony's got to step up and get it done on the offensive end of the floor. Defensively, the New York Knicks have to be the collective unit that they are. Jason Kidd, love him, love what he brings to the table in terms of his veteran leadership and his defense. But how in God's name do you go scoreless in 7 games? That just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't comprehend it. I haven't seen anything like it. It's unacceptable. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's unacceptable. Tyson Chandler's performance was unacceptable. Jason Kidd being scoreless is unacceptable. J.R. Smith shooting the way that he shot since his ejection in Game 4 of the first round against Boston, that's unacceptable. And to be quite honest with you, I think it's gotten to the point where some of the decisions that Mike Woodson has made has regressed to being unacceptable because Tyson Chandler, Roy Hibbert, listen, Tyson Chandler played horrible. I get that. But I got confidence that he can make amends for that. But even with that said, he still can't do it alone. You can't have him down there battling the 7'2" Roy Hibbert and then turn around and blame him because he misses something where David West is on the front line. You got to help him out. Tyson Chandler cannot handle Roy Hibbert and David West by himself. He needs help. And starting Pablo Prigioni with Raymond Felton, Mr. 1 for 8 shooting Raymond Felton, by the way, is ridiculous. You can't do it. You've got to sit there and change it up. I understand Mike Woodson. I spoke to him just a few days ago, Skip. His attitude is forget about what they're doing and us having to deal with them. They need to have to deal with us. Well, Mike Woodson, they are dealing with you. They're up 2-1 in this series, and they seem completely and totally unfazed by what you're throwing at them offensively. So you got to shift things up and make adjustments because that's what playoff basketball calls for. Mike Woodson's a gifted coach, but he can be stubborn. He don't need to be stubborn. He needs to be gifted. Okay, his assistant coaches, they need to be gifted in influencing him to be gifted as opposed to stubborn. And the players need to do their damn job because the Knicks season is on the line. They lose tonight's game. It's over. They have to understand. I'm going to say it one more time. The New York Knicks lose tonight. It's over. They're going home. There will be no Eastern Conference Finals trip against Miami.
It's done.
They won't play game, 5?
They might as well not. They might as well not.
Okay.
Illness and injury hit the Knicks, and as Stephen A. says, Game 4 decides this series. Meanwhile, let's make a turn, shall we?